we've just kickstarted it with a very beautiful banger. That was then and still is at exactly 19 minutes of 8 a.m. in the morning. We do have this beautiful banger coming in from All Stars. The title of the song is the Whistle Song. You can call it Locomotive. On this particular one, a number of artists lined up to actually give justice to these beautiful beats. And of course, mans like, Rabba Dabba, mans like Genial Zamba, call him Simbi now, the late Radio Mose, Wizo Manizo, a Cindy Baby, a Vampino, a Mr. X, who is, a late apparently, and then Monji, and a number of other artists as well. I must say this was one of the best All-Stars song for me, leave alone these awareness kind of songs that have always been made out there, but this particular one is a beautiful one. Of course, we must say that we are into the 20th day of October, and we are just getting closer and closer to the end of the year. We just have actually about 2 months and 10 days to end this particular year 2021, and we're super excited and we can't wait to venture into 2022 stronger, better, and collected as well. Quite a lot of different things are going to be happening today, and of course this beautiful morning I'm being I am being joined by the Moves Guild Council. I have the Vice President in the house, I have the Finance Minister in the house, and later on I will be joined by another minister still talking about issues related with schools that are due to be reopened come November. And of course we want to actually find out how our higher institutions are ready for the reopening, and maybe looking at the current state of affairs in the country. We have a lot of things that are coming in today. This particular morning I've just noted that there is a resurgence of polio in the country after a number of about a decade when Uganda has been declared polio free. What has been actually the cause of this particular resurgence, we are yet to actually find out as well. But today is gonna be a roller coaster. Ups and downs are gonna be experienced in this particular one as we actually bring you up to pace on each and every single thing as it goes ahead to happen, most especially in our country and across the entire divide as well. So expect a lot of more things. We are coming to you live from the MCI Media Hub here in Kavalagala, just adjacent to the American Embassy, level 4, Tilupati, Mazima Mall. We are just here to actually make sure that we amplify media innovations and be able to build a community that is going to actually sustain a media work entirely. We are here, and of course, at the Media Hub, we do have the Inter-Media Challenge, Inter-University Media Challenge competitions, auditions that are going on. They started yesterday and they will be ending today. This actually brings about all journalism students from different universities, and this time round they are here to be able to audition, and maybe they will be able to showcase what they have. A lot of different judges are into the building. Yesterday we had mans like Andrew Chamagelo, we had mans like Solomon Kawesa, we had Solomon Chamba there as well, and quite a lot of different other media practitioners as well. So students are competing in different categories of news anchoring, news reporting, feature stories, essay writing, and different other things related to media work. So if at all your university is not being represented, we do not know what happened, but over 17 to 18 universities have been represented here on the Intermedia University Media Challenge entirely as well. So today we're just gonna be talking issues related to schools reopening and maybe looking at how things are going on in our country. Borders are of a higher risk as I speak, apparently, because a number of 5 deaths have been reported over the past 1 week being caused by border riders. Should we actually assume that it is because of them being out of the lockdown that has caused all these things? We do not know. And of course, different security operatives have come through to be able to take action and to see that this is all being reduced. You very well understand that your morning was beautiful, being able to listen through. You definitely want to say that maybe the night was okay. For those who are traveling to work, I must actually wish you a very safe journey. Those that are already into their workspaces, we actually do believe that this is gonna be a very, very beautiful day for you as well. But allow me to take a short musical break. When I return, I'll definitely be returning with our jumpstart, asking you one particular question that will get you starting maybe in your brains and maybe your physical life as well. We'll definitely also look into what is happening in the dailies and find out what is happening in there. This is a beautiful jam coming in from Winnie Nwaji, Vinka, Fefe Busi, and the main, of course, title of the song is Amaso. Enjoy it. We'll be back just in a bit.
I DJ Harold Remix, I Fefe Busi, Winnie Nwaji, Vinka, the myth, Swans Avenue. Kasukari Tabula.
You're listening to AMCI Radio, the coolest internet radio.
Alali, yo, amaso gani kugwe, ulichi muno kugwe, siri muna Nigeria na yombita na igwe, babusiro muchagwe, ebyange kambi wegwe, koka sukali keko, batongere muchigwe, chitufu toyina falanga, Vinka wakola kala, omubiri gwe wa malanga, Winnie Nwaji wabala, kubira kusimu pala, tupune yoche twagela, nga Muhammedi salam, kubagola siri fala, atongole daloti, kwagalo muhoti, siti kukweka, wakola munga chagaboti, dududududati, gutujama yihati, kuliyo yitayonda beko kulanchuya samashi. Run to me, baby girl, run to me. Japo wakala mpaka kufapo toma na pia.
Akachapambala siku mugongo we kutujja nkusiga obugalo babo bomba mukusanyusa wasiwa nkutakula yomisiza obulamu nange kunuunengo mubisi nange ntaka mupolani nawe nkubalirako ebirungi ddale nalindako walafu negwekesiyo exception.
When we're talking forever, baby girl, I see me and you. I'll be your Picasso, let me help you paint the visual. I'm thinking to kids with you, all black for the vehicle. You're my partner in this crime, they're locking me away with you. And I know you're worth it too. True. That's why I put myself before you, boo. Ain't nobody hurting you. With you, I am comfortable. Yeah, and won't treat you like the usual. I'm in it till it ends with you. You're making it special too. Only one I taste is you. If you had a twin, best believe I'd only mess with you. If you were to sin, I'd be right there confessing too. I'll brighten your days, they will never throw their shade on me. True. Run to me, baby girl, run to me. Listen, I know you got me all day, every day. It's mutual. Yeah.
Exceptional.
I'm exceptional.
Get it young water and it's so professional. I'm a slogan that you come and sing the Lumpita.
Run to me, baby girl, run to me.
Jagala to Kadi when I answer for it at the
I know you got me all day. And I got you.
I'm a slogan that
It's exceptional. What's going on here today, ladies and gentlemen?
You're listening to AMCI Radio, the coolest internet radio. AMCI Radio for African voices.
Your day sounds better with your music and your station playing on the background.
Online 24/7. the internet radio station for you. Listen to AMCI Radio anywhere, everywhere. We are AMCI Radio.
The Inter-University Media Challenge 2021 is here. This is an annual event which brings together students of journalism and media to compete and showcase talent in news gathering, production and presentation, at the same time learning from the expert trainers and journalists from the media industry. Be the next celebrated journalist in the country, like many that have gone through our practical and experiential trainings.
Kayonga Paul, MBS.
Mordecai Mulisa, MBS.
Olivia Komgisha, NTV, Sandra Twinobdio, NTV.
For more information, check out our website on www.mciug.org or call 0702 195 095 or visit our offices located at Tiropati Level 4.
Tractor systems are offline. Number one for today's hits and all-time favorites.
Listen to The Puzzle every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. with Joseph El Shaddai on MCI Radio. The Puzzle, every piece in its position.
Makerere University,
Kampala International University,
Uganda Christian University,
Bara University of Science and Technology,
Chambogo University,
Bugema University,
Uganda Matters University,
Clark International University,
International University of East Africa,
Islamic University in Uganda,
Gulu University,
Uganda Technology and Management University,
Ndeje University,
Kumba University,
Cavendish University Uganda,
Muni University,
Ositema University,
Victoria University Kampala,
Mountains of the Moon University,
Bishop Stewart University,
African Rural University,
International Business, Science and Technology University,
Kabale University,
Kampala University,
Livingstone International University,
Mutesa Waniro University,
King Caesar University,
Kumi University,
Lira University,
Africa Renewal University,
St. Lawrence University,
African Bible University,
Metropolitan International University,
Soroti University,
Advanced International University,
Kaiwa International University,
Uganda Pentecostal University,
All Saints University,
Ankole Western University,
Ibanda University,
University of the Sacred Heart Uganda,
Stafford University Uganda,
Valley University of Science and Technology,
Tim University,
Mietiana Agrovate Institute,
Nsaka University,
Bosogo University,
Makerere Business Institute,
Womkat School of Journalism,
Multitech Business School.
MCI Radio brings us together all over Uganda.
AMCI Radio for African Voices.
kigambo kyembadde njogera okwogera simanyi oba kinakola bulungi abatuwuliriza naye omuntu atategeera wagamba nti oli musiru do you suffer?
Society faces numerous challenges that are underreported most of the time. Pieces scattered and getting lost in the process.
Why don't you try to sit down and define yourself before others define you?
Listen to The Puzzle on MCI Radio to help bless every piece in its position.
These are some of the things that we are going to be talking about, because very many people ask themselves these particular questions and they do not get the right answers.
Informative, analytical, provoking yet entertaining. From Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. with Joseph El Shaddai. The Puzzle, every piece in its position.
The hits just keep on coming.
Steph London Bunny Remix. Years of fresh hits, fresh talent, and connecting all universities. Download the AMCI Radio app on Google Play Store, the home of the African Voice, a free internet radio on radio.amciug.org.
love too fast. African nights in a cool rush. And I remember you refused to kiss me. And now you're using my toothbrush. You say you think I talk too much. That I'm not your type and you don't like the hype. Cause your daddy is a preacher. Now you're wearing my t-shirt. And I don't want this night to end before you know I love you. I don't want this night to end before you know I need you. Na muda usinihishie nikwambie I love you. I don't want this night to end before you know I need you. So I'ma keep it short and sweet. DJ play the song on repeat. Odi odi dance to the beat. Apolipo kamatana feel so sweet. Apolipo kamatana feel so sweet. Short and sweet. DJ play the song on repeat. Odi odi dance to the beat. Apolipo kamatana feel so sweet. Apolipo kamatana feel so sweet. Yeah. You wanna do the right thing, you find this too exciting. Your friends tell you kudetum to come in a high risk, throw that shit behind me. Yeah. Come sit beside me. If you got too much class, then do me like assignments. Please don't remind me of the bad times. Your sugar sweet, your icy, but in my eye, it shouldn't be so hard to make up your mind. Just do it one time for the one time. Itakofea ukiparticipate vile nimejitolea ungejua unge appreciate lighting intimate 1+68 usirasha hata ukitoka sahi you'll still be late. Tusiache chance ya kufeel regret. How much higher than this can you ever get? In Mount Everest. And by sunrise I'm gone, I'm not here that long. Keep it short and sweet. DJ play the song on repeat. Odi odi dance to the beat. Apolipo kamatana feel so sweet. Apolipo kamatana feel so sweet. Short and sweet. DJ play the song on repeat. Odi odi dance to the beat. Apolipo kamatana feel so sweet. Apolipo kamatana feel so sweet. He greet me that sita. Na sina kiti.
Bali asubuhi, my people from Nairobi, Kenya, and of course those that are listening to us from Tanzania. Karibu kwa MCI Radio. Leo ni Jumatano. Of course today being a Wednesday, it is the WhatsApp Wednesday, and we ask you, what's up people? How are you doing? There is a beautiful feeling that comes with a day Wednesday. I don't know if you're told it is just because it is the it is just in the middle of the week. I don't know, but there is another new vibe that comes with a Wednesday, unlike Monday, unlike Tuesday, and probably maybe a Thursday as well. But it is still the of course the puzzle with yours truly, Joseph Shaddai, as we shed a light onto some of the pertinent issues that go ahead to happen in our societies and in our communities, as well as we bring you to base on each and every single developing incident that happens in this particular in this particular country as well. It is a beautiful jam coming in from Sauti Sol. Title of the song is Short and Sweet. I just want to send it to all short ladies and short men out there. You're not being segregated. I just don't want to be like, I just don't want to be segregative, but I actually think about you all as well. And I just might be, I want to wish each and every single person a blessed day entirely as well. But do not take offense. I'm not actually attacking anyone. I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. But hey, this is how life has to be, and we move on entirely, because even these fingers are not equal. We have taller fingers and those that are shorter as well. But good morning, Kampala. Good morning, Uganda. Good morning, the rest of the world. Above all things, God is always great, and we actually have to share gratitude, because it has not been our understanding to wake up this beautiful morning as well. It is at this particular time where we get into a jump start, and we just maybe shake your brains and put them back into position, because we strongly do believe that when you sleep, your brains tend to go into what we call hibernation mode, and we need to just actually re-jump them and jumpstart them as well. So in this particular one, we actually ask you a particular riddle, and maybe if you answer it, you stand a chance to win some of the goodies that we give out here at MCI Media Hub.
We know that it can be hard to get your brain moving after a long sleep. Jumpstart your brain this morning. They seem easy but logically challenging. The Jumpstart on the puzzle. Every piece in its position.
sometimes seem easy, they sometimes seem simple, but logically challenging. These are not the kind of questions that you actually rush to answer. You need to actually think, and as you think, your brain is being brought back into the right position that it actually has to be in. So in this particular one, this is where I actually ask a simple question: what kind of band never plays music? We very well understand that bands always play music, mostly on occasions, events, celebrations, but there is that particular band that doesn't play music even when it's called a band. So I really want to get your attention and answer on this particular one. What kind of band doesn't or never plays music? Go ahead and answer this beautiful question. The first two people to actually answer this rightly will definitely stand a chance to win some of the goodies that we always give out right here on MCI Radio and the MCI Media Hub entirely. And yeah, so that we can actually start off our day well and together as well. So this is where I actually want to bring in my guests, and actually I will start off with asking them this particular question. If any of them fails, I will actually have to question them more and more over and over again. I'm super excited, ladies and gentlemen, to actually let you know that joining me in studio here are two gentlemen, and we expect another person to join us later on as we go on. But I do have the MOBS, Makerere University Business School, Guild Council in the building. I just must actually admit that I have these gentlemen right here. I have Mr. Robinson Ogwang, who happens to be the Guild President, Makerere University Business School. I also have the Finance Minister. I am now pretty sure that my landlord is not going to chase me out of the house because the Finance Minister is in the building, Mr. Matia Kaseja. And I must say, I do have the big guns in the house. I have Mr. Chiega Rogers, who is the Finance Minister, Makerere University Business Institute, and later on we'll be joined by one Julia Muhumuza, who is the Gender Minister, still Makerere University Business School as well. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me introduce to you my guests and let them say a word to us, and maybe we shall definitely presume. I'll start with Mr. Guild President, sir. Good morning and good to have you on the puzzle this beautiful morning on MCI Radio.
Good morning, El Shaddai. Good morning.
I'm very
Good morning, listeners. I'm Robinson Ogwanga Punyo. I don't know why you always forget that Punyo name.
Okay, from today onwards, I'm not going to forget that particular name.
Yeah, sure. Punyo is my father's name.
Okay. It's a bit. Is it? Sorry.
I was saying he's a man of all seasons.
A man of all seasons. So definitely, being that you're a man of all seasons and you took also over your father's name, we'll definitely find out in this wet season that we are in, what are your plans? I do not have Mr. Robinson alone. I also do have Mr. Rogers here, the Finance Minister of Makerere University Business School. Good morning, sir, and how are you doing?
Hi, listeners, and hi, El Shaddai.
I'm very fine. I'm very fine.
I should say it's quite a chilly morning. Out there is experiencing it also within Kampala.
Okay.
So I am Rogers Edward Chiega, the Guild Finance Minister. Well, I'm very pleased that Ugandans are responding to the current situation. So as students, it's very important that we tune in. Let's tell the rest of our friends who can afford and they can tune in.
Okay.
Let them tune in, because whatever is going to be discussed here is of very prime importance.
Interestingly, and we have a number of listeners here that are actually tuned in, both on our radio app and those that are tuned in onto our social media platforms as well. And of course, on this particular app, there is two options. There is an option of shout-outs and maybe, recommendations and regans. You can definitely send shout-outs to your people and maybe also tap that other, option. And you can ask your questions to these gentlemen here. If I told you you're a MOBS student, you definitely have a lot of questions props for these gentlemen here, being that they are the supreme representatives or high above, everyone in the school. We definitely have to ask them quite a lot of questions and maybe get the relevant answers that we need from them as well. So go ahead and follow the conversation on our different social media handles. That is MCI Radio on Twitter, Facebook at MCI Radio, as well as YouTube. That is Media Challenge Initiative, where we are up and running as well. So very many things are actually going on, and I'm super excited to have these gentlemen who are going to be able to actually help us give analysis on some of the different things that are actually going on to happen as well. So just tune in and let's have these conversations go on and on as well. This is MCA Radio, and it is an online radio station. So whatever we do is basically online. For those who are asking for a frequency, we do not have a frequency, but we are online. Facebook, we are on. We also do have our MCA Radio app that you can actually download from the Google Play Store. For those of you who use Android phones, it is MCA Radio. Just get it, download it, and you will definitely be good to go on the go. As well as our iOS users, it is MCA Radio. You will be able to get this particular app. I must actually say that the world is moving digital, so you should better actually jump onto this digital world as we actually revolve, because over time radio is being listened online, and being that we carry the majority of the population, 77% of the Ugandans, we are young people, and most of us spend most of our time online. So that's where we are, and maybe coming to you to serve you better and better again. This is where we actually get into our dailies and find out what is happening, most especially in our country and across the entire divide as well.
As you took a nap all through the night, a lot took precedent. We gather for you what happened as we look into the dailies and provide broader coverage of particular issues. Right here on the puzzle, every piece in its position.
Without wasting any other time, I just actually want us to just delve into what is happening, most especially in our country and things and the countries around us as well, so that we definitely get to understand what is on the go. And we just want to actually start off with Daily Monitor. Daily Monitor starts off with, I would say, happy news, of course, where Turkey flees Ugandan blogger who had killed President Museveni. Of course, in this particular story, we very well remember the Turkish authorities went ahead to arrest Mr. Lumbuye, and of course, he was released. Of course, the Turkish authorities released this particular Ugandan opposition supporter suspected of spreading rumors that President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni had died earlier this year. Fred Lumbuye had been held at the Kokari Foreigners Detention Center in Turkey since early August. So the Chadondo East legislator, that is Muwada Nkunyinji, the Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs, said Turkey informed the legal team defending him of his release in there. So in his particular words, he actually said, I have talked to him and he is at his home in Istanbul. So he is in good spirit and happy to be back home as well. So we want to actually say welcome back, Mr. Of course, Lumbuye. And of course, climate change threatens more than 100 million people in Africa, says the United Nations, whereby 2030 it is estimated that up to 118 million extremely poor people will be exposed to drought, floods, and extreme heat in Africa. It is at this particular I want to actually bring in, and call upon you people to be able to jump onto campaigns that eradicate climate change. If at all you are involved into cutting down trees, it is at this time that you need to actually stop. It is at this time that you need to actually plant a tree, practice reforestation and stop deforestation as well. If at all you are using, plastic bags, plastic waste, please endeavor to either recycle or actually get rid of them entirely, and we will definitely be good to go as well, so that we can kick out climate change in our country, because it brings a lot of consequences and creates an impact, most especially to our environment as well. Moving on forward, Uganda receives additional 700,000 doses of Sinovac vaccine from China as well. That also brings in questions of whether we are still independent. 13 arrested over links to ADF terrorists, and of course Mitchell has been handed 3 years, says sentence for sexual assault. Mr. Mitchell, who happens to be the head coach of the Uganda Cranes, was suspended and of course sentenced to 3 years. These are, crimes that he committed while he was still head coach in Zambia, and of course he actually did some bad things, most especially in regard to sexual assault. So he has been sentenced and being given a 5-year suspension from his position as well. Moving on swiftly from the Daily Monitor to the Nile Post here. Of course, it starts off with interesting news when it comes to security of the nation, whereby President Museveni commissions another locally manufactured armored military vehicle in there, so that we can definitely be good to go as well. So you should actually look out forward and see how things are actually going on to happen entirely, so that we can be good to go as well. So in other news, IGP Ochola orders aggressive crackdown on borders after former UN employee is actually killed in there. It should be noted that over the past 5-6 days, borders are becoming so much aggressive and unruly as well. We should be able to actually see how we can, contain this ruthlessness that is happening in our country as well. So we should definitely be able to get rid of all these as well. Moving on swiftly away from Uganda, looking into what is happening, most especially across the entire divide, looking into issues that are coming in from the UK and different other countries. Scientists urge UK to actually consider Plan B with COVID-19 cases high and rising. It should be noted that there could be another wave in the UK that has not been yet declared, but I think on the, on this spike that we are having about COVID-19, increasing each and every single day in the UK, there could be something that is actually not right in there. But we pray that they will find solutions for this particular problem. Of course, another new Delta Plus variant being tracked in UK, not yet on, the World Health Organization ladder. This is what I've been talking about. I think there is another variant that has been just discovered in the UK. So for those of you who have been planning to travel to the UK, you should actually maybe take a pause and maybe rethink about your travels in there. UK's Johnson announces 550 pounds, of course, tie up with Bill Gates to invest in clean technology. This is some good news if at all investors are, willing to put some money in there. Moving on from the UK, North Korea confirms submarine launch of new ballistic missile in there. I think all these are purposes of national security. And of course, Brazilian lawmakers to recommend homicide charges for President Bolsonaro over handling of COVID-19 linked Senate in there. I think, lawyers are like, what, the way the president has really handled issues related with COVID-19, this is actually kind of, homicide and not thinking wise for the country as well. Facebook plans to rebrand itself with new name. Of course, Tech Block reports on this particular one. So we are yet to see another name apart from Facebook. I don't know this time round how will it be called, what name will it be given in there as well. And maybe the other touching incident that we actually have to think about back here in Uganda, we've seen another, kind of resurface of polio diseases. It's about 10 years ever since the World Health Organization declared Uganda a polio free, but now I think it is about this particular time whereby polio is also coming back into the country. I think parents have become so much oblivious on how to vaccinate and immunize their children, most especially when it comes to these. I think there were 6 killer diseases, now 11 killer diseases. And do you actually still remember these diseases, Mr. President and the Finance Minister? You still remember the 6 killer diseases? You still do remember?
Well, I think I do.
We have measles. Apart from measles and polio, what else?
There's tuberculosis.
Malaria.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How many are
Those are 4.
those? Those are 4. At least I've mentioned some. Let's finish the rest.
You passed on the matter to Robinson. I think Robinson is just going to say what you've mentioned.
No.
Surprise us.
We actually think the same way.
Mm-hmm.
But probably I could add kwashako. Was it among them?
Isn't that a nutritional disease? Malnutritional disease?
I left science back in time. So I might not be in position.
I think when the president says science subjects should be given priority, this is what he actually means. But anyway, we're just taking a short break. When we return, we shall definitely be good to go and maybe looking into what is actually on the go on our standpoint today as we look into issues related with the reopening of schools and maybe basically how prepared are post-universities and institutions in there as we have about less than 2 weeks to the reopening of these schools as well. Mr. President and the Finance Minister will be able to actually help me dissect a few issues related to this particular one as well.
As you took a nap all through the night, a lot took precedent. We gather for you what happened as we look into the dailies and provide broader coverage of particular issues. Right here on the puzzle, every piece in its position.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
Listen to The Puzzle every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. with Joseph El Shaddai on MCI Radio. The Puzzle, every piece in its position.
The Inter-University Media Challenge 2021 is here. This is an annual event which brings together students of journalism and media to compete and showcase talent in news gathering, production, and presentation, at the same time learning from the expert trainers and journalists from the media industry. Be the next celebrated journalist in the country, like many that have gone through our practical and experiential trainings.
Kayonga Paul, MBS.
Mordecai Mulisa, MBS.
Olivia Komgisha, NTV, Sandra Twinobdio, NTV.
For more information, check out our website on www.mciug.org or call 0702 195 095 or visit our offices located at Tiropati Level 4.
The hits just keep on coming.
Steph London Bunny remix.
Years of fresh hits, fresh talent, and connecting all universities. Download the MCI Radio app on Google Play Store, the home of the African Voice, a free internet radio on radio.mciug.org.
It's Young John, the wicked producer.
You're listening to MCI Radio.
Yeah, cherish you. I stand for you. I wouldn't lie to you, but I feel like for you. In the night, girl, I'm down for you. Girl, I'm down. Oh, you talk to me, oh mama. Free, oh, balance for me, die with you. Baby, oh, I think I find it in you. Oh, I think I find it in you. See, if I'm to choose, girl, I choose you. If I'm to lose, girl, I want to lose with you. They say that I will, but girl, I see truth in you. She walk on it for me. Do you really care? Show me bomb for me, baby. Show me in the tower. To be sincere, I will do almost anything for you. Anything for you. I want to. Yeah, cherish you. I stand for you. I wouldn't lie to you, but I feel like for you. In the night, girl, I'm down for you. Talk to me, oh mama, free, oh, balance on me, die with you, baby. Oh, I seek, I find it in you. All I seek, I find it in you. Try, if I'm to shoot, girl, I'll shoot for you. Ain't gonna kill, baby, just a bullet wound. Prayed about you last night, you get my way. Yeah, I'm a liar. If you buy infinity, would you buy for me, oh? When I'm in captivity, would you come for me, oh? Step into the light and let me see your face. See your face. Come true. Yeah, cherish you. I stand for you. I would lie for you, but I feel like for you. In the night, get up down for the way. Oh, you talk to me, oh mama. Free, oh, but Lord, sorry, me that you're with you. Baby, all I seek, I find it in you. 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 Sure, yes. Shewa kone fumi, joli pon fumi, Fado.
You're listening to AMCI Radio, the coolest internet radio. AMCI Radio for African voices.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, boss. I get a rain of a baby. I just black African boy. Yeah, baby. T-O-N. You come here, see my new car, yeah. Internally dance. Walk on and could know that you work with come here. I tell her that I be on to me. Made that busy body buy you a chance. And by last year, you problem with rest. I bet that's all I could in about to wake up fast. But like a go back. Go when necessary. You're the only one I give my body, but you're the only one I cause it's over, buddy. You're the only one I give my body, but yeah. Go when necessary. You're the only one I give my body, but you're the only one I cause it's over, buddy. You're the only one I give my body, but yeah. See the Bible, see the man, see the everybody probably the war. Yeah, see colati, baby, when Bella see Kulubiako. Was look sem, what's in go wanga bweboka. Oh, by the war, bit over. Oh, by the war, so when you will be in packaging, Ula won't be poor. Oh, but you more be pinga. Oh, mommy, not holding God, you get that. But when necessary, you're the only one I give my body, but you're the only one I cause it's over, buddy. You're the only one I give my body, but yeah. But when necessary, you're the only one I give my body, but you're the only one I cause it's over, buddy. You're the only one I give my body, but yeah. Amanyuzina kadansi muwakati kuminye kansa solanku one every city already movie sonda mukule yuchi tinya sikabele yabanyamukumbuti batinsomesa kumukwano kubandilana mbele tata ovele mama tukusinga haiti ndimo wanvu tukube dansi tulikazongo tubagamba tetubabusa tebalina kumanya byetulikabo bayuza amete tubagamba tetubabusa singa batumanya batule muluko bayuda. Oh, by the war, bit over. Oh, by the war, so when you will be in packaging, Ula won't be poor. But when necessary, you're the only one I give my body, but you're the only one I cause it's over, buddy. You're the only one I give my body, but yeah. But when necessary, you're the only one I give my body, but you're the only one I cause it's over, buddy. You're the only one I give my body, but yeah.
hits just keep on coming.
Steph London Bunny remix.
He has all fresh hits, fresh talent, and connecting all universities. Download the MCI Radio app on Google Play Store, the home of the African Voice, a free internet radio on radio.mciug.org.
Yeah, first you like me so much when I'm working.
MCI Radio, the biggest and hottest internet radio that everyone's talking about. MCI Radio for African Voices.
Makerere University,
Kampala International University,
Uganda Christian University,
Bara University of Science and Technology,
Chambogo University,
Bugema University,
Uganda Matters University,
Clark International University,
International University of East Africa,
Islamic University in Uganda,
Gulu University,
Uganda Technology and Management University,
Ndeje University,
Kumba University,
Cavendish University Uganda,
Muni University,
Ositema University,
Victoria University Kampala,
Mountains of the Moon University,
Bishop Stewart University,
African Rural University,
International Business, Science and Technology University,
Kabale University,
Kampala University,
Livingstone International University,
Mutesa Waniro University,
King Caesar University,
Kumi University,
Lira University,
Africa Renewal University,
St. Rollins University,
African Bible University,
Metropolitan International University,
Soroti University,
Advanced International University,
Kaiwa International University,
Uganda Pentecostal University,
All Saints University,
Ankole Western University,
Ibanda University,
University of the Sacred Heart Uganda,
Stafford University Uganda,
Valley University of Science and Technology,
Tim University,
Mietiana Agrovate Institute,
Nsaka University,
Bosogo University,
Makerere Business Institute,
Wonkat School of Journalism,
Multitech Business School.
MCI Radio brings us together all over Uganda.
MCI Radio for African Voices.
Your day sounds better with your music and your station playing on the background.
Online 24/7. The internet radio station for you. Listen to MCI Radio anywhere, everywhere. We are MCI Radio.
Ashensia, Steph London Bunny remix.
The hits just keep on coming.
Ashensia, Steph London Bunny remix.
He has all fresh hits, fresh talent, and connecting all universities. Download the MCI Radio app on Google Play Store, the home of the African Voice, a free internet radio on radio.mciug.org.
Yeah, first you like me so much when I'm working. Where will we go? When the quarantine thing done and everybody touch road. Mommy, me gonna start, pull up in a fast car, yeah. I know fast start, make you want the fast part, yeah. I know you're feeling me, you know I'm feeling you. So what now we feel do, yeah. Hey fancy, oh your heart state, now no vacancy. Last time see up on FaceTime, chatting up the place, bout in our relationship. Me I go put you on lockdown, I put your body on lockdown. You got me on lock now. You got my passion on lock. Oh, if you love me, you should let me. You should let me. You should let me know. And if you don't know, better feel let me. Better feel let me. I better you let me go. Pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. Nobody deal with the buckle and talking. Me nothing know we are chilling in an apartment. Hope you don't mind me asking, where will we go? Quarantine thing done and everybody touch road. Mommy, me gonna start, pull up in a fast car, yeah. I know fast start, make you want the fast part, yeah. I know you're feeling me, you know I'm feeling you.
you want travel, we go whole valley.
It is a beautiful jam coming in from Kofi. Title of the song is Lockdown. Lockdown. I know for a fact that very many people, when they hear the word lockdown, their minds have been taken back to 2020. They've been reminded of COVID-19. They have been reminded of, curfew. They've been reminded of several other things that came with the entire COVID-19 pandemic. But hey, it is playing to you at exactly 9 minutes of 9 a.m. in the morning, and you're listening to MCA Radio. This is The Puzzle with yours truly, Joseph Shaddai, making sure that we actually connect all the dots and place each and every single piece in its position. I'm super excited that this particular morning we do have the entire, not the entire, but half of the Guild Council of Makerere University Business School. I have the Guild President, I have the Finance Minister. I told you my problems are being sorted. And of course, I do have the Minister of Gender who is joining us right about now, Miss Julia. Good morning, Julia.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
How does it feel to be here?
It feels alright. Deliberate.
Anyway, we are actually talking about issues related to schools being, they are going to be reopened, most especially post-secondary institutions. And I think we have less than 2 weeks to actually see that these schools are being reopened as well. Of course, it should be remembered that schools were closed down in June, and of course, a number of students went back home. Several of them actually have resorted to different other things. Others have, turned to do several other things that bring money to them. And, it actually, it is in plan for the Ministry of Education to open schools, but in a phased manner. But recently, I think it was September, the president came out and actually spoke to the nation and said, you know what, schools are going to be opened, but only those that are post-secondary institutions will be opened as well. Those that are not will be opened 2020. But Uganda has planned to reopen institutions of higher education mostly in 1st November, which will be a Monday, and other schools will be resuming school in next year, January. Support staff and students who are above 18 years are supposed to be actually vaccinated against COVID-19. So a president actually in the address said, I call upon all teachers and support staff to get vaccinated as soon as possible to enable the reopening of schools. So it is against this particular background that we actually want to understand how schools are, ready to reopen, and what are some of the measures that are being put in place to see that school is safe for the students that are going to be coming in. And this is where I want to actually bring in you as an individual on our standpoint to actually share your mind on this particular one. Are students ready? Are lecturers ready? Are parents ready? And different other stakeholders today on our standpoint as we actually get to understand how all these things are going to be able to actually work out.
The right to freedom of speech is the right to hold opinions without interferences. You do not need to be an expert to take a stand. What's your standpoint on our topic today on The Puzzle? The Standpoint. Your opinion counts.
Your opinion counts, and you do not need to be an expert to actually share your opinion. You do not need to be an expert to share your thought. You actually have a right because the Constitution gives you that right as an individual. And this is where I want to actually bring in Mr. President, sir. Schools were closed. I really want to understand, June, we were locked down once again for the second time after the resurgence of the second wave of COVID-19. How and what impact did that create, most especially on students? Not you as an individual, but generally the students.
Thank you. I want to probably say that schools have been closed for about 18 months now. And the 18 months have been very rough for us as students. I speak from a point of view as a student, leave alone my position as a guild president. Because me, even when schools were closed...
Just get closer to the microphone.
Yeah. So what happened is we had a lot of students losing track. A lot of students lost track. They gave up on education. We also discovered alternatives of survival. A lot of students got to realize that it's not only about education.
Exactly.
they went out. A lot of them who started business in the first lockdown are actually very far at the moment, and they don't think coming back to school is actually a solution to some of their issues. To the girls, I would believe my sister here will talk more about it. It's been rough.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been rough, but I don't want to really touch that sector because I know she has extensive knowledge about what really happened. But to the students, it's just been rough and we lost track. That is a major issue. We had some students come back to school to do exams, but I can tell you there is quite a number out there that didn't just show up. They have given up.
Well, Madam Julia, this is where I actually want to bring you in as the Minister of Gender, Makerere University Business School. We've reported a number of sexual violence, most especially with the girl child. We've actually registered a number of pregnancies, most especially within this particular period of the lockdown. What impact has this created, most especially when it comes to issues related with the education of these students?
Thank you. I feel like the country is not actually looking at post-secondary alone. The country is going through a crisis where we have very many girls. The girl child has been a victim of the teenage pregnancies, has been a victim to the sexual violence, because the closure of schools actually showed the country that schools have been playing a very big role to protect the girls from the sexual predators and to also protect them from actually engaging into sexual activities that could result into teenage pregnancies. So this has actually it hasn't left us the same. What I mean is very many girls will not be in position to return to school because of the stereotypes around being pregnant while in school. Some of them, the parents have already disowned them, and actually even them themselves are not willing to come back because right now they are into a section of carrying on responsibility of the child and trying to see that it works out. So as a gender minister, I know that several of the girls actually in the university could also be in a dilemma of choosing to come back and complete while they are pregnant, or to actually just resort to finding ways to raise their babies. So to all the leaders in the country, it is upon us to actually reach out and encourage the girl child to actually go back to school. Being pregnant does not mean that you should give up on school.
Well, that is Mrs. Julia, who happens to be the Minister of Gender, Makerere University Business School. And this is where I want to also bring in Mr. Rogers, the Finance Minister. We've seen a lot of financial constraints when it comes to students being able to petition. Before the lockdown was implemented, a number of students had paid some money to actually further their studies, but it was actually not even a month. We went back into a lockdown. What does that mean, and where does that put a student who actually pays for their own tuition, even parents who toil so much to actually be able to keep these students in school?
True. Well, I would love to agree with you that it's a
Get closer to the mic, please.
I would love to agree with you that it's a very trying moment. Also to the parents who really dig into their pockets to pay millions, also for university students. And well, it's really understandable that even at lower education institutions, some people are paying more. But now, if you are to focus on university students at the moment, it's very challenging because we have students that pay their own tuition.
Exactly.
We have students that are on private sponsorship. So it is very interesting and quite a very big topic when it comes to the financial implication of the lockdown towards the education system. However, I'm very positive that those who are charged, the student leaders, the administrators, the government itself, understands the implication. And the more we hold these discussions directly to those who are concerned, I'm very sure we shall always get solutions in one way or the other.
Well, we understand that it's about 15 million students, not even secondary or university students, that are being still locked down at home. Most of them do not actually know when they are just going to get back to school. Others, they do not actually even understand which year they are in, which class they are in, and they are so much puzzled. To the parents as well, it's another story as well, because most of the parents think once I put a child in school, most of these responsibilities are taken away from me. But We've seen a lot of domestic violence at home. We've seen a lot of, child abuse at home. We've seen a lot of child labor also on a spike as well. And this is where I really want to get our mind. Don't you think COVID, I don't know how to speculate it, right? But I understand this is a pandemic that caught us, all of us, off guard. And it has caused a lot of different consequences, including healthy consequences, physical and mental health issues as well. I really want to understand the mental bit of it, Mrs. Julia. How has it been catered for, most especially by maybe the Guild Council at MOBS, to be able to see that students are still under check, most especially when it comes to their mental health?
I would like to first of all appreciate the efforts of the Guild and also the administration, because whereas universities were closed, we've had several continuous sessions online to keep engaging with the students that run from mental health sessions to entrepreneur sessions to so much that would actually help us to catch up with the impact of COVID and the impact of closure of universities. So then you would find that, fine, we've been at home, but because of these sessions, we've managed to keep ourselves productive and also in check of each other and keeping up with what we should be keeping up. Thank you.
Mr. Guild President,
yes.
What are some of the measures that have been put in place to see that students are still focused on their studies? I know very many have turned into traders, others have turned into becoming entrepreneurs, and it will be so hard to actually bring them back to classroom. What measures have been put in place?
Currently, as Makerere University Business School, we have adopted the e-learning. We are doing much of online studies, and with online studies, we realize we can literally record lectures. So you have time to do whatever you want to do and still catch up with the lectures anytime you want. But in the lockdown, to keep the students' minds still in track, we had a lot of sessions, as she has said. We had sessions on mental health. We had sessions on entrepreneurship, teaching our students how they can develop businesses out there and how they can thrive. So as Makerere University Business School, I really think we are on the right track. We believe that our students are ready. Given the fact that we have had all these facilities ready for them and the facilities have been given to them. We have been taking them through trainings on how they can use the e-learning platform. We have an incredible e-learning team that has put together this system to make sure that the students continue learning. And we have used that system as well for our examinations that we just finished this Sunday. And so we believe as time goes on, we are going to be ready to take them all through the semester again.
Interestingly enough, Mr. Rogers, I really want to understand that yes, very many schools have closed down. Private schools, secondary schools, primary schools have been sold off, all because they've not been able to actually have funds to sustain themselves. And they are looking out how government can definitely help them. An institution like MOBS, I would say that it could definitely be having the entire support from the government, but to the students themselves, who could definitely be more willing to come back in November, might not be in position to actually have this money. And you will find out that institutions have actually put out, I will call them orders, that you either pay 50%, you either pay 100% before you actually get into classroom. What is it going to be like to students who do not actually have this money, but they are willing to actually come back to classroom?
Well, it all starts with the willingness to attain education. Okay? And the best example I can give you is that with the recently concluded examinations, well, as the guilds, our first priority is to always advocate for what we think is best for the students, okay, without crippling the institutions that we formed. Well, it has been our responsibility to, yes, at the moment there's a tuition challenge. However, it's at the moment that we find solutions, but these solutions should be long-lasting.
Exactly.
And long-lasting doesn't really mean 10 years, even if it's 1 year. So it is long-lasting for 1 year. Okay. So we advocated that whether students pay now or they don't pay now, at the end of the day, there's going to be a point where they have to pay tuition. What we were able to do in the previous examinations was that for as long as a student is in position to pay a certain percentage of which they think they can manage for that period, they could do these exams.
Just a percentage that they can afford.
The percentage that they can afford. Because at the end of the day, even if they paid now or paid later, the responsibility will still come back to the students. However, our responsibility was that those who could pay up a certain sum could, so that they do the examinations without crippling the institution as well. Because at the end of the day, let's assume a person is paying 2 millions and next semester they're paying 1.5 million. Still, by next semester, if a person doesn't pay up now, they'll be paying 3.5 million.
Exactly.
So you're better off paying a certain percentage now that you can afford, so that at the end of the day, when you're going into the next semester, there is a lesser load for you to accommodate.
We literally just advocated that they should show commitment, that we are willing to pay the tuition. So even if you deposit 200,000, we accept it.
How do you measure the commitment of someone being able to actually pay?
Well, the commitment is measured with your deposit. First of all, your willingness to come for this education is commitment, number one. Your willingness to contribute that amount you think you can afford because of the current situation is the commitment, number two. Now, on the side of the institution and us, the student leaders, our advocacy or our ability to advocate for such a policy, in that even if you have paid 200, 300, 500, you're in position as a student because of the current situation to do your exams.
Well, I must actually say that these are good insights that we'll definitely want to hear more and more. And of course, to all of you who are following us on our social media platforms and maybe our YouTube channel, you should definitely be in position to actually get to understand. You might not be a mob student, but even different other institutions should actually borrow a leaf to see how we are going to be ably opening in a safer environment that is not actually going to constrain anyone financially, physically, and different other aspects as well. We're taking a short break. When we return, we'll definitely look into the aspect of how safe are we, how ready are we, and maybe how prepared are we to see that students come back to classroom as well after a long period of time entirely. And maybe just to remind you that the Intermedia University Media Challenge is actually ongoing as I speak here at the MCI Media Hub, where a majority of students that do journalism and communication, mass communication in different universities are here to compete in different categories: news anchoring, reporting, photography, essay writing, 1 minute of fame, and different other production work that is actually required. They are here, and about 18 to 20 universities are being represented. If at all your university is not here, please do not blame that on us, because we actually rolled out a call out, and basically everyone is being represented here. This is actually one particular platform that each and every single journalism student needs to actually further their career as well. Let's take this break. We'll definitely be back just in a few.
The right to freedom of speech is the right to hold opinions without interferences. You do not need to be an expert to take a stand. What's your standpoint on our topic today on The Puzzle? The Standpoint. Your opinion counts.
Your day sounds better with your music and your station playing on the background.
Online 24/7. The internet radio station for you. Listen to MCI Radio anywhere, everywhere. We are MCI Radio.
Ashensia, Steph London, Bunny Remix.
The Inter-University Media Challenge 2021 is here. This is an annual event which brings together students of journalism and media to compete and showcase talent in news gathering, production, and presentation, at the same time learning from the expert trainers and journalists from the media industry. Be the next celebrated journalist in the country, like many that have gone through our practical and experiential trainings.
Kayonga Paul, MBS.
Mordecai Mulisa, MBS.
Olivia Komgisha, NTV, Sandra Twinobdio, NTV.
For more information, check out our website on www.mciug.org or call 0702 195 095 or visit our offices located at Tiropati Level 4.
The hits just keep on coming.
Shensia, Steph London Bunny remix. When you
Years of fresh hits, fresh talent, and connecting all universities. Download the AMCI Radio app on Google Play Store, the home of the African Voice, a free internet radio on radio.amciug.org.
For like you give me love, oh. Now you the catch my shot, oh. For your sake, I go church, oh. Hey. We go drive around you for my Porsche. Oh, baby, pana. They say you like you all, I get you all, baby, pana. Anywhere that you go, I can follow you to go, baby, pana. I say you like cassava, I get big cassava, baby, pana. My love for you will never die, will never die. If I ever, oh baby, if I ever, baby you too sweet, if I ever, my baby dance it to the lagwaja, make a take you to Babalada. If I ever, oh baby, if I ever, baby you too sweet, if I ever, my baby dance it to the lagwaja, oh make a take you to Babalada. So love is a beautiful thing. Can you they cool my temper? Love is a wonderful tender feeling. You they give me ginger. So baby dance it, dance it, dance. The beauty in your eyes they give me life. Oh, oh. I could give the Lord the thanks. So for the sake, for the sake of love. Oh, baby, leave it about the bad. Oh, and I'm about to baba. Oh, but you say I could kill you. Show you love that you never seen before. For like you give me love. Oh. Now you the catch my shot, oh. For your sake, I go church, oh. Hey. We go drive around you for my Porsche. Baby, pana. They say you like you all.
So what a beautiful job coming in from Tekino. Title of the song is Pana, playing to you at exactly 31 minutes of 9 a.m. in the morning. And of course, we want to actually assume that each and every single person that has been traveling to work, you already settled into your workspaces. And maybe those that are still stuck home. I don't know what time you definitely plan to leave, but as I understand, the early birds always actually get that warm covered as well. So if at all you're still home, we definitely don't know what you're up to as well. But here on the puzzle, MCA Radio, we are up and running, and we are actually collected, bold, and stronger to bring you up to pace on each and every single thing as it goes ahead to happen actually as well. So in this particular one, we actually get to dive into what happened on this beautiful day of the 20th of October. Of course, very many years ago, actually, some not even very many years ago, but times that we actually tend to forget as well. So this is where we delve into our history and bring back life to it, and maybe bring life back to history as well on this particular day as well.
The past shapes the future. Get to know what happened when, where, and how on this day. Yesterday, today, on the puzzle. Bringing history to life. Stay informed, stay safe. The puzzle, every piece in its position. The past shapes the future. Get to know what happened when, where, and how on this day. Yesterday, today, on the puzzle. Bringing history to life. Stay informed, stay safe. The puzzle, every piece in its position.
This is where we actually get into what happened on this particular day in history. And it should be remembered on the 20th of October 2011, the Libyan dictator Muammar el-Gaddafi was killed on this day. It should be noted that Muammar el-Gaddafi, the longest-serving leader in Africa and the Arab world, was captured and killed by rebel forces near his hometown in Satay. The eccentric 69-year-old dictator who came to power in a 1969 coup headed a government that was accused of numerous human rights violations against its own people and was linked to terrorist attacks, including the 1988 bombing of a Pan-Am jet over Likabi, that is Scotland. Gaddafi, who was born in a Bondane family in June 1942, attended the Royal Military Academy in Benghazi as a young man and briefly received additional military training in Great Britain. On September 1st, 1969, he led a bloodless coup that overthrew Libya's pro-West monarch, King Idris, who was out of the country at the time. So Gaddafi emerged as the head of the new revolutionary government, which soon forced the closing of American and British military bases in Libya, took control of much of the nation's oil industry, and tortured and killed political disasters, or dictators rather. It also made unsuccessful attempts to merge Libya with other Arab nations. Gaddafi began funding terrorists and guerrilla groups around the globe, including the Irish Republican Army and the Red Army Factor in West Germany. Additionally, in the mid-1970s, Gaddafi, whose followers referred to him as such titles as brother leader and good of revolution, published his political philosophy, which combined socialist and Islamic theories, known as the Green Book. The manifesto became required and may be reading in Libyan schools as well. We should actually remember this man. It is not actually the only event that took precedent in, of course, on October 20th, very many other incidents actually went ahead to happen. And of course, among them, we do have one General MacArthur who returned to Philippines in 1944, as well as Sydney Opera House was reopened in 1973 as well. Maui's long monarchy was concluded just over a year after the start of a long march. Of course, this particular one was concluded in there. Watergate special prosecutor dismissed starting Saturday Night Massacre. That was in 1973 in the U.S. government in there, as well as different other things that went ahead to happen. You can actually also remember very many things and events that took precedent. It could be 2020, 20th of October, and you remember something that happened. It could be 1996, it could be 2001, it could be 2008, and you actually remember something that happened on this beautiful day as well. Our aim is to always keep you informed as we put each and every single piece in its position. Our conversation is actually still going on, most especially concerning the reopening of schools come November as well. And this is where we actually need to actually get to understand how ready are institutes, how ready are students, how ready are parents that actually get this money and pay to facilitate education services to their children as well. Mr. Rogers, how ready are schools, first of all, to see that they reopen? And in this particular regard, I really want to understand how MOBS is ready to see that they reopen.
Well, I should say that I would love to speak on behalf of MOBS. Well, I am not so sure about other universities, but at MOBS, well, I should say we are not yet fully there 100%.
Exactly.
But we have made a step to show our willingness.
What steps have been taken?
Well, currently, the reports we're having from the health system, that's at the university, it shows the turn-up is really good. It's very encouraging. Okay? Even
what do you mean by the turn-up?
The turn-up for vaccination.
So there is
vaccination
at the school,
at the health center itself. So students' turn-up in itself shows the first willingness and commitment to the students themselves that they are ready for reopening. Now, when you look at the financial implication or the financial aspect towards the reopening,
exactly.
Now, we as student leaders, we have been put in a position whereby we need to establish exactly how safe in the financial aspect that the university can open, which takes us back to the first discussion we had about student at least having a deposit, as the bursar's office and the entire administration looks into how best this can be done. Because in the university, it's not like they have fixed pay slips where you're supposed to pay a certain figure. But as you move through the semester, it becomes your responsibility to deposit what you can have. So by the time these examinations start, the university is in position to understand how many people have paid which amount. Now, when we get such information as student leaders, that is when we come in to advocate for what we think is best in the best interest of the students without crippling the institution. So I would say the students they are preparing themselves to get ready when it comes to the financial aspect. The health aspect, I think we're moving on well.
All right, I think I'll definitely take that students are ready when it comes to reopening. But I will ask you as a student, as you look forward to go back to school, have you been able to be vaccinated? Have you taken those jabs? And maybe are you one who is actually going to break the rules? Madam Julia, I really want to understand. Looking at the population of Makerere University Business Schools, I do not know what gender takes the highest number, but I actually want to presume that do we guarantee that all students are going to come back to school, both boys and girls, as they were before lockdown?
Student will come back because this closure, the implication of COVID-19 has affected each of us differently. Whereas some would be ready to do whatever they can to meet the financial implication of the closure, the emotional implication. There are some that are actually not in position. You see, even as we have adopted to the e-learning, e-assessment, there is still a section of students that have not successfully adopted. So I wouldn't guarantee that everyone would come back, but the biggest percentage would actually come back.
Well, I just want to actually take I will call it your hope or faith that everyone will definitely come back. And that is what we pray, that every student gets back home. Mr. Guild President, I really want to pose this particular one to you, particularly. How is the school, teachers, lecturers ready? We've seen a lot of teachers, striking because of the situation that has been going on. We actually want to understand. We've seen a lot of them turning into businessmen and women, and most of them that we interact with are not willing to get back to classroom to actually render a service to students who might be eagerly and fully ready to actually come back. But the question is, are teachers and lecturers ready to come back to classroom?
Well, as I said earlier on, very many people decided to get alternatives to life. When you hit a dead end, you try finding a new door for you to get out. But the question about the lecturers and the teachers, it still gets back to funding. Private institutions have been crying to government, we need funding, we need funding. They don't need funding to put infrastructure. They need funding to pay these teachers. You can imagine private institutions have had teachers and lecturers who have gone for all these 18 months without payment. And this is the same teacher that you run to ask them to come back to class. They are financially disturbed. They have also children that they're supposed to pay tuition for and school fees.
Exactly.
So you understand this becomes a cycle that everyone in that cycle tends to be suffering. But for an institution like MOBS, government recently released funds for public institutions. And so most of these people have been receiving money. And I want to applaud government for constantly paying these people in lockdown. They have not complained in one way or the other that we have failed to receive our money. However, for MOBS in particular, I believe our lecturers are very ready to receive these students. We recently had government releasing money for the lecturers in MOBS, and majorly to clear out the areas that they had before.
They were pending.
Yeah, and so they have been cleared and they're willing. Right now as we talk, our lecturers are out in the field trying to make sure that they supervise the students who are doing internship.
Exactly.
And so the energy that they have is quite good, and I believe they are willing to take on students. And also, as an institution, I am a member of council, and we have discussed several issues in council, and one of them was the laptop policy that they want to give each and every lecturer at least a laptop to help them facilitate these learnings that will happen online. So as the guild also, we have proposed a laptop policy for our students, and so we believe if school
Is it going to be free of charge?
No, it's not going to be free of charge, but if we can have over 22,000 students buying laptops from one company, we have that bargaining power to negotiate that.
So there is a discount that
a
is being
laptop
given.
can go for as low as 400,000. And we propose to the administration that if this can be spread all through the 3 years that you have in campus, so meaning every academic year you might end up just paying 100,000 or 150, and I think that is affordable. So we're also preparing ourselves to go that line because the world currently is going online and we can't remain in the back.
Exactly.
To see that.
Madam Julia, I really want to understand. The government says for us to be able to reopen, we need to actually being able to have vaccinated a number of about 4.8 million people, and students in there, about 330,000 students above 18 years should be vaccinated. How are we going to be able to meet this target? And looking at the number of days that we are remaining with, looking for 1st of November is not very far. Today being the 20th, that means we have about 10 days to go. How are we going to be able to meet this target?
One, I would like to thank the Ministry of Health for really making it a provision for institutions to have vaccination going on in the respective institutions. Like they earlier stated that MOOBS itself is vaccinating students from MOOBS. So this actually increases proximity of students to get access.
Are they also vaccinating teachers?
I feel like lecturers, yes, they are, but also lecturers, non-teaching staff were amongst the first category of people to be vaccinated way back, even before students were decided on to be vaccinated. But I also feel like we students are tired. We are tired of being home, and if the president of Uganda says schools will be opened on condition that we meet the target, I feel like that is one of the key drivers of students to get vaccinated. Because if I go get vaccinated, I want to make sure my friend is vaccinated, so what we meet the target, and in the long run, we can be able to go back to school.
Interestingly, Mr. Rogers, how have you been able to actually demystify all misinformation and myths in regards with vaccines? Students have, propaganda has always been caused and circulated all over social media. This kind of vaccine is not good for your health. This one has side effects. Sure. How have you been able to actually mobilize these students to come and actually feel like, you know what, we need to go and vaccinate regardless of all this misinformation?
Well, I must say that you creating confidence among the population starts with you, the individual, more so the influencers. Well, I was vaccinated, and I made sure that it's as public as we can. And the mere fact that I'm talking to you right now means that I'm alive and the vaccination is safe. Well, of course, it has those mild effects like the same day of vaccination, then the following day, but that's just it. So as the influencers, as student leaders, it starts with you getting vaccinated.
Right.
Okay? Now, when you, the person who's influencing others, is vaccinated, it becomes very easy because you start living as you walk like a living example. So that's the only message I'm sending out to our fellow young student leaders who are out there in other universities, that you can't convince the population to get vaccinated if you have not been vaccinated. The only way you can convince people to do something nowadays is actually if you do it. So that is it. The only way we can convince people to get vaccinated is us first getting vaccinated.
Well, interestingly, we're just going to take a short musical break, and when we return, we shall definitely look into what is coming in from the world of entertainment. As maybe when we get also back, we'll look into some other things that are happening in our country. How are they affecting us, and what impact are they causing as well? This is a beautiful jam coming in from Wizkid, Runtown, and of course, While She Fire. The title of the song is Bend Down and Pause. Bend Down and Pause. Enjoy it. We'll be just back in a bit.
You're listening to AMCI Radio, the coolest internet radio. AMCI Radio for African voices.
Rantan and Weezy, yeah, from everything well. Baby, just bend down, pause. 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 Who be that? I say who be that? Who be that girl with the big nash? Tell me say your name when I share the fat. Share the body chocolate like a kitty cat. Bring it back, oh baby, bring it back, oh. See the way you want like you for three that, oh. Oh my God, oh, look at that overload, oh, cause it's plenty go slow. So easy baby, I be biggie man. Plenty money, but I no fat. Money long, them I got too fast. I be number one, I know they carry last. I be like a sensi meal. Tomorrow chillin' with Caroline. And everywhere I go, money rolling in. If you this sound from the other side.
Bend down, pause. Baby, just 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 bend down, pause. Baby, give me one to fuck the road. Baby, give me one that see the go. And the feel of my body and soul. When you whine low. Baby, dance to the melody. And then the girl, them will let me do. That's why the girl, them will follow me. Oh, baby, got you low.
Whoa, you killing it, baby, show me your ability, baby, wine to the rhythm, and I want to know your availability, I feel like the sense in me, baby, dance, baby, kill the shit, baby, move to the melody, baby, bounce your booty,
baby, just bend down, pause, 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 baby, just bend down, pause. Where my girlie them there? Where my ladies them there? Where my ladies?
You're listening to AMCI Radio, the coolest internet radio. AMCI Radio for African voices. You're listening to AMCI Radio, the coolest internet radio. AMCI Radio for African voices.
London. Another banger.
Yeah. Sexy love, what she need from a bad boy like me. Yeah. Sexy kiss is the thing that she ain't from my lips. Yeah. My sex herself is the only air that she breathes. And when I look into her eyes, I know that she can never get enough of me. Your body high me like lean. When we do it, skin to skin. And as the rush they increase, I feel the drip in your V. Shorty say she feeling so. She grab my neck and she whisper, please. Shorty give me that splash from my chest to my knees. Yeah. Shorty got a lot in her bucket list. I give her number one, she need a bucket quick. And when we done, she feel me like a majesty. Grip. Round two, quick. Round three, epelebe. Next day we go do one for your place. Make sure that your daddy is known. Make sure that your mommy is known. Switch off that television. Netflix know what I came here for. Shorty better shut your door, cause I know one disturb me boy. Shorty like it when I drill a hole. When I finish I go.
You're listening to AMCI Radio, the coolest internet radio. AMCI Radio for African voices.
Puff, pass, my Mary Jane. I'm high on life, wanna meditate. So allow me, make I enjoy life. Cause problem not the finish, oh, eh. Every day different wahala. Problem not the finish, oh, eh. I just wanna party every day. I just wanna party every day. So pass me the dutchie. Pretty girl, come wine pon the cocky. 10 toes, one girl, make it touch it. Pass me the dutchie. Pretty girl, come wine pon the cocky. 10 toes, one girl, make it touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it. Shut up and bend over. Aye. Let your back do the talking over. So back up and bend over. Let your back do the talking over. Say, I want to chop my life. I want to be happy. I want to dance and party to the rhythm of my body. I just wanna party every day. I just wanna party every day. So pass me the dutchie. Pretty girl, come wine pon the cocky. 10 toes, one girl, make it touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it. Pass me the dutchie. Pretty girl, come wine pon the cocky. 10 toes, one girl, make it touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it. Puff, puff, pass. My Mary Jane. I'm high on life, wanna meditate. So allow me, make I enjoy life. Cause problem not the finish, oh. Every day different wahala. Problem not the finish, oh.
Will definitely allow you to enjoy life because this life is always full of wahala. It's always full of problems, and most of the times problems will never cease. The more you get the money, the more problems actually come. I don't know why they seem to sense from afar that money has now come, and they will definitely come in. But always enjoy life and enjoy it in its full abundance. But don't forget to actually take caution, be careful, because sometimes people die because of the enjoyments that they engage in different days, mostly in there. But looking into what is coming in from the world of entertainment and sport, we actually have to actually understand that the Squid Game, Indian actor Anupan Tripathi wins millions of fans. Well, there are a lot of different things that have been said about Squid Game. To me personally, I was disappointed by it. I don't know how you found it. Probably everyone has a different perception about Squid Game. Most of the people ended on episode 2. Others who went very far, they went up to episode 4. Those that completed it were definitely disappointed. But hey, that doesn't mean that it is not actually selling out, whether you like it or not. We guys are making lots of money. I see the vice president here is actually getting angry. He's like, no, we are disappointed. Julia, were you disappointed as well? By Squid Game? Why did you get disappointed?
Especially when I realized at the end that one of the characters that made me cry was actually the one behind Squid Game. I lost it.
Mr. President,
yes,
Squid Game is the talk of the town.
I haven't watched it, by the way.
Why?
I am not that kind of person who is moved by whatever comes up.
With the impulse, people are talking about it.
I normally take my time. I know it will come. Someone will one day tell me, you know what, you need to watch this movie. But
Rogers, have you watched Squid Game?
No, I've not.
You've not? Have you heard anything about it?
Not, I think I've not watched it because people are saying so much about it. That's why I've not watched it.
Take away your pride. Pride at its fullest. But anyway, you should definitely go and look out for it because unlike despite all the misconceptions that people have about it, it's one that is intriguing, most especially. Your mind will definitely be brought to, different things that you definitely need to know as well. But moving on swiftly, the FUFA, the Uganda Cranes coach has been suspended for 3 years in prison, sentenced for sexual assault and maybe different other crimes that he actually committed in there. But we're still moving on, and we are just left with about a few minutes to be able to wind up on this beautiful day of the puzzle. And this is where I want to really get most of your parting shots about what we've been able to discuss. Mr. Guilty President, if at all, schools are open, institutes are open, how possibly are we going to make sure that we do not see another resurgence of COVID-19, looking at the fact that most of the students are going to be coming back from home, whereby they are living into communities where very many people have not yet been vaccinated. Those that are vaccinated, some of them also may be not sure whether the vaccine will definitely work out or not. So there are very many things that are going on.
I've always had a challenge with my fellow Ugandans, and that is people forget easily. You know, right now we are making noise about schools should be open. We are tired of staying home. But when you come back and they tell you, please wear your mask, people don't want to do it. When they tell you social distance, you don't want to do it. When you go downtown and see how many people were crying that businesses should be open, those malls should be open, and you see what they're doing, it's contrary to what we thought they would do. So I think if schools open up, it's supposed to be self-policing.
Exactly.
You take it upon yourself that the future of this country lies in your hands as a student. If you can't protect yourself, if you can't wear that mask, if you can't social distance, you're going to send us back home. And again, we shall go through the same process. So each one of us has a role to play in fighting this. If you can't do that for yourself, then it means you're killing very many people.
Exactly.
So I want to really urge people out there that let's take this challenge upon ourselves. It is our fight. It's not for the government. We are doing as much as it takes to make sure that everyone gets vaccinated. But then again, after vaccination, what happens?
What next?
You throw away your mask? That's not the end. We are seeing more developed countries still suffering with COVID,
Exactly.
yet they have better facilities than us. So if these countries can still go back to zero, it means Uganda as well can still go back to zero. So this is a personal responsibility.
Madam Julian, I really want to understand, as students look forward to coming back to school, what are some of the things that they should take note of? Most of them, when they get to, the campus premises, they tend to forget easily. They say, that's past, and they resort to different other things. How are we going to be able to assure them that, what, this is the way to go? We need to stay focused on several other things and maybe be in check with what is happening around campus.
One, I would like to note that with the fact that most of the institutions have adopted to e-learning and e-assessment, is actually going to make our blended learning more effective. And two, I just want to implore our fellow students because just like the good president said, those that have been vaccinated still need to take precaution. It's upon us. Each of us has a role to play as far as our safety is concerned. And yeah, we should be each other's guard to ensure that people put on their masks, they social distance, and they do and observe all the SOPs as required.
Interestingly, that is Miss Julia for you, who happens to be the gender minister. I'm told, Miss Julia, you are actually eyeing for vice presidency. In which position? Are we supposed to vote for you? How can we vote for you? And probably who are supposed to vote for you? And what position are we definitely looking at? Maybe you can turn to that camera and call upon your voters to go ahead and vote for you.
Hi, everyone who is viewing. My name is Julia Mhumuza, once again, running for Vice Presidency, UNSA. That is the Uganda National Students Association. This body seeks to represent all the opinions of all the students in the country. And I cannot do this by myself. Each institution has 3 delegates. I know they are aware of themselves. I kindly request for your votes. And those that are actually non-voters, you can implore the respective voters in your institution. Let's do this and let's change the status quo of the students' fraternity in the country.
Can I say something about that?
Please do.
Whatever we have faced as students could have been solved with this body that she's talking about. These people, I don't want to say they failed, but I think they had a challenge in one way or the other. And so we as students were able to go through all these challenges because we didn't have that representation. And if I see people like her, I've worked with her. I know what she's capable of. I know of a team that is also pulling strings together to make sure that they revamp the body. And we need it so much. And we need brains in there.
Interestingly, and I think Miss Julia is one of the brains that we need in there. So whoever is delegated to vote, please, Miss Muhumuza is here. Mr. Finance Minister, I know for a fact my problems are super sorted. I really want to understand, as students look forward to reopening and coming back to school, financially, what should actually be at the back of their mind to see that they actually keep afloat, even amidst the challenges that come with returning to school?
Well, in a financial perspective, we are Makerere University, business school. That alone should mean something, okay? Not just as a title or that something that appears on our documents, but the fact that it ends with business school should mean something. Not just to the staff or to the administration, but more so to us, the students that chose to subscribe to the institution. So, yes, we have sponsors, but then now we are in a situation that is actually putting us in a position whereby the business school last words on our institution are now exactly what we should be showing out there. Well, we had an interaction with our professor, the principal. It was the engagement of how a hustler should think like. So us being in a business school means we are all hustlers.
Exactly.
So now that we are done with exams within this short period, now it is time to actually manufacture the hustler's life set or mindset in ourselves.
But we also have the rich kids.
Yes, yes, they are rich.
Who are not
but then-
hustlers.
Yes, yes, they are rich, but then they're actually not rich. They are being well sponsored. We
Okay,
should say.
they are depending on someone.
Yes, they are well sponsored, so they are not yet rich. But then, in a business perspective, from a student leader who's the finance minister, I'm just simply calling upon all students to start looking at how best in their capabilities they can think of different activities they can engage in themselves for as long as they are legal and they can produce something. It may not be fully enough to cover for the entire tuition, but for as long as that it can take them through their education system somewhere, somehow, other options will find them while they're already on the move. So it's time to develop the hustler's mindset. Let's not sit on ourselves. Let's see how best we can do whatever that is legal to see how we can produce some finances for ourselves as students.
And I would want to also add something.
Please do add as we wind up.
As the guild, we have been so much looking at how best we can bring the students together and tend to raise some finances for themselves. We recently signed an agreement with a company called eGet. eGet is an e-commerce company that connects suppliers of electronics to retailers. It's a business-to-business mode of business.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we have given 500 opportunities to our students, of which if you're to be full-time, you're paid a gross of 500. On top of that, you get allowances for every client that you get.
Oh.
Then besides that, if you choose to do part-time, they pay you 300,000 gross monthly. On top of that, you get your allowances for every client that you bring. So we are looking at putting all these modes together to make sure that if you can't raise tuition from a parent, you can supplement your tuition through doing something. As he said, it's a business school. We believe in hustling, so we want to send as many students as possible. So by the end of the year, we look at sending about 2,000 students out working.
Well, interestingly, I must actually admit that it has been nice hooking up with this entire gang here. And of course, I must say the Makerere University Business School has been well represented on this particular one as well. I must say most of you are going to walk out of the university full economists, full hustlers, like he said, and of course, entrepreneurs as well. So what we need to actually do is to actually be able to make a safe environment for each and every single person, because I understand the campus brings people from different backgrounds and different walks of life, and we understand that this is one that we are all being inclusive in each and every single thing that we do. I want to actually thank each and every single person that has been following us on our app and those that have been following online as well. We want to actually thank you so much. Coming up next is Talk the Trends with Kanan and Linda, who will be chipping in at exactly 11 a.m. in the morning. I need actually to go and catch up with the Intermedia University Media Challenge auditions that are actually going on at the MCI Media Hub, the auditorium as well. But thank you so much, Mr. Ogwang Apuya, for coming through, and Mrs. Julia Mohomuza for coming through as well as Mr. Achiega Rogers. Thank you so much for sparing some time to come and actually shed a light on some of these important issues that students out there need to actually understand. We want to actually tell you as well that here at the Media Challenge, Hub, we definitely do have a lot of services that we render, looking forward at amplifying media innovation At the MCI Media Hub, we are just a collaborative space that supports disruptive innovators with an enabling environment to be able to accelerate media ideas and solutions for journalism and media viability in Uganda and across the entire region of East Africa. Our mission is to enable innovation and entrepreneurship to drive impactful journalism and media viability as well. So as we create a community of media innovators who look forward to transforming the industry for a better world, as we always say, journalism can make a world a better place. So we strongly hold dear to that particular slogan. We also render a couple of services here at the Hub. We have a media training academy. We have a conference space. We do have a shared co-working space and live streaming support, media incubator workspace, TV and audio production teams for hire, equipment for hire, digital marketing, audio and TV studio spaces for hire, training facilities for hire, and maybe production support as well as press conference venues. So if at all you are in that particular docket of wanting this particular services we've mentioned about, feel free to come through and see what we can definitely offer to you as well. We're coming to you live from the MCI Media Hub here at Tirupati Mazima Mall. My name is Joseph El Shaddai. Just have a fabulous day. Of course, I have to actually jet out as well. Good morning.